Hello and welcome. Thanks for spending some time with us today as we talk about CRM for oil and gas marketers. My name is Chad Collette. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Ledge Partners. We're a Microsoft Dynamics Gold partner and a Salesforce Silver partner, where we help businesses transform their approach to sales, marketing, and customer service by aligning these teams to focus on improving their customers' experience through technology. Now, before I introduce our presenter for today, I have a couple of quick housekeeping items to cover. First, I want to mention that today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand after the live session. All attendees will receive a follow-up email this week with a link to access the presentation on demand. I encourage you to share this with others in your company and your network as well. Now, to ensure the best audio quality, we have everyone in listen-only mode. But if you have a question, please submit those in the question pane of your GoToWebinar control panel. We have a really full agenda, but we want to make it interactive. And if we have time throughout, we'll field as many questions as we possibly can. But if we don't get to your question by chance, we'll make sure to follow up after the webinar is complete. Now let me introduce our presenter for today. Steve Raybrock is a CRM product consultant and managing consultant with Ledge Partners and knows how lubricant marketers use CRM, well, really better than anyone I've ever met. Steve manages all of our CRM for oil and gas implementations and gets to know each and every lubricant marketer very, very well. From coast to coast, he ensures that the CRM our customers purchase and expected is what's delivered. Through his years of experience, he's also the expert on what works and perhaps more importantly, what doesn't work when it comes to CRM evaluation, selection, implementation, and really everyday use. And as Steve calls them, the gotchas. And he's got a number of them you should be aware of, not only if you're brand new to CRM, but if you're using a solution today. Steve, thanks for joining us to talk about CRM.
All right. Thank you, Chad. I think I can blow past this slide then. You did a great job of the introduction, so I'm just going to blow right by this and get on with it. We are going to spend about half of the time just talking about stuff, and I'm going to try to get at least half of our time actually showing you some stuff that you can do within CRM so you can see a product in action. So we'll start with the basics with our agenda, talk about what CRM is and why you need it. Then we'll talk about selecting a CRM, best practices for implementing a CRM, and then again, some cool things that you can do with CRM. So it's kind of a chronological timeline, if you will. So most of you are probably either have gone through or are about to go through this process of, getting CRM. So as Chad mentioned, if anybody has any questions, shoot them our way. Chad will interrupt me and say, Steve, a question came in, and we'll answer as many as we possibly can. So let's get into it. We have lots to cover. Yeah, 2 hours of stuff. I'll see if I can do it in 55 minutes. The basics. What is CRM? So it's software, stands for customer relationship management. It's really focused on sales, marketing, and service. And just everything revolves around the customer when you think of customer relationship management. Some of the big terms you'll see are things like accounts, which are your customers or your prospects. Opportunities, how you're going to manage your pipeline and all that business you're going after. So just a great place for everyone on your sales team, and then your marketing, and if you wanted to, your service team can use one system, one database, if you will, of all this information. So you got everything in one spot. And then on the bottom here, I just pointed out that you can get an on-premise version if you have a big IT department and you have a data center. But I think over 90+% of our customers go with the cloud-based solution. So the CRM that our oil and gas customers use, work up in the cloud. So they don't have to worry about, a big IT department managing, a big infrastructure and servers and worry about upgrades and all that kind of good stuff. So that's the real high-level basics of CRM. I don't spend a lot of time on this slide anymore because many folks have done research and have even purchased a CRM and maybe have gone through some pain with it. So if anybody's really, really a beginner on the call, feel free to reach out. We'll send you some contact information at the end of this, and we can take a deeper dive into the basics of CRM. But I just wanted to, just start at the beginning here with what is CRM. Another way to kind of look at CRM, instead of thinking of it as a software, whatever, just think, why might I need something called CRM? And this is actually a short list. I could list tons of things on here, but these are some great reasons why you might go, hey, I have this problem. It sounds like CRM could solve it. I should probably consider CRM. So things like giving your sales team easy access to information. I mean, if you have a sales team out there and they're out trying to be as productive as possible and have little to no access to data in your accounting software or any other system for that matter, wouldn't it be great to give them information at their fingertips? CRM can do that. So I kind of put in here, you know what, CRM kind of can pick up where your accounting system ends. So, you know, your accounting system does the billing, it has your customers in there, but it's really designed to, you know, for AR, AP, general ledger, all that kind of stuff. So this really extends that out to turn that information into, you know, easy access to your sales team, and then, you know, generate reports and information about customers along with, you know, prospects rather than just your active customers. Another thing that a system will do will offer you consistency. You know, everybody's doing the same thing, using the same system. So consistency is a big thing. It'll add to efficiency. Transparency is a big deal with CRM. So we're going to take a lot of the data from your accounting system and expose it in CRM. And then all the stuff that your sales team is doing is also going to be in CRM. So this transparency concept works both ways, right? I'm a salesperson, now I have access to data I didn't have access to before. I'm a manager of a sales team. I now have easy access to see what the sales team is working on. So transparency, consistency really adds to efficiency, which is going to, you know, allow the team more time to sell, hopefully increase revenue and profits, all that kind of good stuff. Another thing that's kind of nice about having a system is if you hire somebody new, look, this is the process we use. This is the software we use. To get somebody up to speed is a lot quicker if you have a system. And there's a few more on here. I could go on and on and on, but there's a myriad of reasons why you would want a CRM. This is just a handful of them. So another way to kind of look at it is really, you know, do I know my customers better than my competitors do? You know, everybody is busy. We're always trying to get more done with less time. Are we spending our time on the most important opportunities? Are we focused, right? If we had a system that kept track of our pipeline, our opportunities, and we could simply with one click sort them by my biggest opportunity to my smallest opportunity, boom, that would give me focus. So hopefully a CRM system can help you answer a lot of these questions or solve some of these problems. Again, just a different way of thinking, you know, do I need CRM? So these are just some good questions you can kind of ask yourself and think, you know, how are we doing in this area? You know, if you've got a good handle on all of this, that's great. If you don't, I think CRM could help you. All right. So now you've decided, all right, I think CRM is in my cards. I should be considering CRM. So what do I do? What do I get? What are my options? Before you even think about a software to get, let's say Microsoft Dynamics CRM or Salesforce or Act or Sage or you know, they go on and on and on. Before you even do that, answer this strategic question first. Do I want to get a vanilla CRM or an industry-ready solution? And I'll explain what that even means. So all them products that I mentioned earlier, Salesforce, Microsoft CRM, Act, everybody can buy them and you get what I would call the out-of-the-box or the vanilla solution. And that works for a few customers, but most folks, when they get a CRM, they want to make changes to it. They want to tie it into their back office. They want to, you know, add fields to screens and really customize it to work the way they want it to work. So we do that as an organization a ton. We help customers select a CRM, and then that they start out vanilla, and then we work with them to design and customize the system to work exactly the way they want. So there's some very big positives with starting with a vanilla CRM solution. It doesn't really matter which one it is, and then either yourself or having a consulting firm customize it to work just the way you want. The big benefit, you get exactly what you want. Sometimes that actually works against you, but you get exactly what you want. You paid for it. The negative to starting out with a vanilla solution is there's a big time commitment for you. Right now you've got to figure out, okay, I've got this CRM, what do I want it to do, right? And you probably have some ideas, but you probably don't know all the possibilities with this new software. So you might stumble a little bit, and it might cost you a little bit more. I would say a vanilla solution where you're paying somebody or investing a lot of time, it typically is going to cost more than the alternative, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the big benefit is you get exactly what you want, but you pay more and you spend more time. And it's going to take you longer, more calendar days to actually get up and running, to get to use your system. So the alternative is there any CRM package out there already that is ready for my business? So it's basically built. So there's some benefits to that and there's some negatives to that. The big benefits are, number one, it's less expensive. Number two is it's a much less time commitment on your part. There's still definitely work to do, but not near as much as having to start from scratch because the system's already done. So that also means that from start to finish, you could be up and running in a little as 2 or 3 months from when you start the thing. Whereas if you went with a vanilla solution, the first phase might get done in 2 or 3 or 4 months, but then there's going to be a second phase and a third phase and a fourth phase, and it could take a fair amount of time before you get done, like completely done. The other advantage with an industry-ready solution is typically you're working with somebody with knowledge of your business, right? Somebody in a company has built a CRM for your industry. They probably know a little bit about your industry, so that's a big benefit. The one negative, the one thing you have to be careful of with an industry-ready solution is you get what you get. So you have to realize that if the thing does 95, 98, 99% of what you want, that's a big jump start, but that's what you get. So that maybe that last report you wish the system had, or that last chart you wish the system had that it doesn't, you don't get that. But typically, these industry-ready solutions, there are enhancements that roll in, a couple times a year, 3-4 times a year, and then features are added. So the product continues to grow. So that, to me, is really your next decision. You've decided you wanted CRM. Now, is there an industry-ready solution out there for me, or do I want to start from scratch? And then a couple other things to kind of help with that decision is, we talked about cloud-based versus on-premise. As you're making that decision up above about vanilla versus industry-ready, think of the resources that are involved. Do I have a lot of time to invest in this? And if I start with vanilla, it's a much bigger commitment for my team than if I get something that's done already. And then the last bullet's real important when you're picking a solution is if you can find a CRM partner with knowledge of your industry, that's a big plus. A lot of people try it by themselves. I usually meet them after they've invested a lot of time and money, and then they hook up with a solution that's done already, with somebody who knows about their business and all the possibilities within CRM for their business, and they're like, oh, why didn't I do this years ago? So we always try to catch people in the beginning before they go down the wrong path. So hopefully this helps with your direction on heading toward the correct solution. All right. Just a couple of things I'll point out on a solution that might benefit you, because this is directed toward oil and gas distributors. Things like opportunity management is a big deal. Keeping track of your sales versus actual. Keeping track of share of wallet business. How can I grow the current customer base that I have? Do I have any equipment out there that I've loaned to customers, and where is it? And are the customers still buying product from me and putting them in those tanks? Do I have the ability to be able to hit a button and have the system look at all the data and suggest things to me to push for the customer? What aren't they buying that they probably should be buying based on the data in the system? Lots of dashboards and reports, mobile access, activity tracking, that's a big one. So just a lot of cool things you can get in a finished solution, to help you just right off the bat start being more productive. Just kind of looking at the clock here because I want to make sure we have enough time to show stuff. So now you've picked the system. and now you're going to implement it. So these are just some of the gotchas Chad mentioned earlier. I just want to make sure you're aware of some of the things you should just really make sure you have your arms wrapped around, and not just like, these aren't trivial. You really have to make sure that you've got a handle on this. So the first one, it seems obvious, right? But do we have the right project team to get this thing up and running? And CRM is a little bit different than getting any other system possibly up and running, because CRM is going to live and breathe and need a champion forever. That could be somebody as simple as the sales manager. So maybe somebody different than leading the project, but really we need a champion who's going to own CRM forever, hold people accountable. I mean, I think I don't have the recent statistics, but I think CRM is of all the softwares that fail, it's CRM, and it's really because of this one bullet. People put it in and they think people are just going to use it, and they don't, and there's a struggle, and then companies just give up on it. Well, if you have a champion and you set the stage right with a plan, which we definitely have plans for our customers. When we go live, we have a detailed plan on what to do the first week, the first month, the first 2 months. It's just a lot to do. So if you have a plan, when you're all done executing that plan, your team will be using CRM successfully. But there has to be a champion. So make sure you've got somebody who's going to own CRM and be responsible for it. You are about to change the culture of your company, so just be ready, right? This is change for your team. Hopefully it's positive change, right? Let's make sure it's positive change and people want it. So it's all about how we present it, how we train, how we roll it out. All those things are really important. Then the last bullet that I'll mention here, actually I'll talk about the bottom one here first, is just, obviously if the software has any requirements for your hardware to be on the correct operating system, to have the right amount of memory, the right processor, just make sure you do that. That seems like an easy one. Just make sure we have the right equipment, because the last thing you want is a perfect solution running on a junk machine, and then the users just don't use it because their machine is too slow. So just make sure of that as well. But the kind of the one in the middle here is the one I'm actually going to do some more demonstrating on, and that's a real important one. And I think it's critical to not just have a standalone CRM system. I think it's real important to have it tied into your accounting system. Your accounting system has a wealth of knowledge, and it's probably easy for a lot of people in the office to get access to it, but sometimes it's a little bit cumbersome for somebody who's not used to using that system. So let's pull that data out of your accounting system, pump it into CRM, and then again, it's all in one tool. So some of the things that I think about when I think about data integration is I think about accounts or your customers. I think about products. What products do you sell? And then I think about order history. Think of that as a line item on an invoice. Everything a customer buys, I want that in CRM. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time. I'll flip over to CRM here. Hopefully this works. Hold on just a second. Let me get over to the right spot. Okay. Chad, are you seeing this CRM screen? Just want to make sure everybody's seeing the screen.
Yes, I am.
All right, perfect. I possibly make it a little bit bigger. Don't want to goof things up here too bad. Okay, maybe it's a little bit easier to read here. So I'm in CRM right now, and again, the purpose of showing you some of these things is really under the concept of data integration. So tying CRM to your back office. So right now I'm just looking at a list of accounts. Those are customers. Now I'm just going to do a search for one of the customers we seem to use quite a bit because they have some good data in there. So I just searched for Fairview Manufacturing. This is a customer of ours, and I'm just going to open it up. So one of the first things that you'll notice is a lot of the data on here has a little lock next to it. Well, why is that? Because this is a true customer. It has an account number. It's in my accounting system. So I don't want people messing with, the company name or the company phone number, the company address, right? I grew up in the IT world. I'm a big believer in data integrity and one version of the truth. I don't want CRM to say one thing and your accounting system to say something else. So Once it's tied into your accounting system, the accounting system is your Bible. Really important. Now, as I scroll down a little bit, I can show you things like billing information about the customer. So the credit rating, credit limit, payment terms. As I scroll down a little bit further, there's even more information you could bring over about your customer. In this case, we're bringing over accounts receivable information, what their last statement amount was. There's like 10 optional fields, just dollar fields. If you want to bring them over, we can have them right in front of you when you're analyzing a customer. So one of the other things I said was real important was this concept of order history, right? What has a customer been buying? So I'm looking at this customer, maybe I'm about to call on them or do something with them. I'm 2 clicks away, and I'm not going to really go through a lot of the navigation here, but I'm really just 2 clicks away from looking at their order history or their invoice data. So what this screen is telling me, and I'm actually going to make it a little bit smaller again because I can fit more on the screen then. So what this is showing me is every line item on every invoice showing me the most current one first. So it shows me like their order date, their order number. These could be, invoice dates and invoice numbers, the product they purchased, the exact product number or product ID, the price they paid, the cost, how many did they buy, how much revenue did it produce, and how much gross profit did we make on that transaction. So it's pretty easy for me to tell the last time this customer bought something was back in January. And actually, we just dumped a whole mess of data in here, so you see a lot of them dated January 15th. What's really exciting for the team here is when we build a CRM for you with your data and the whole system just comes to life, right? If this was one of your customers with their data, I mean, it's just so awesome. So I can also scroll down and go back further and further in time and look at all their purchases. I could click on any of these headings and sort it by that. I mean, all kinds of flexibility once I'm looking at the data. If I jump back to the main customer form, just a couple other things to show you as I scroll down. Now that we have that order history data, we can do something like we can summarize it. We can look back at the last 12 months and show you the products they're buying the most down to the product they're buying the least. So again, this is a summary by product for this one customer for the last 12 months. So he looks like buys a lot of DEF and some other lubricant products and some fuel. So lots of good data in here. And again, it's showing me the one he buys the most. As I scroll down, you'll see the volumes going down to, they bought just a little bit of this over the last 12 months. All right. Some folks are a little bit more visual, so we do have some charts rather than just raw data. So as an example, I could take a look at that order history data. And again, this is just a test company. And what this is going to do is just graphically show me, I could look at gross profit, revenue, or volume again. But this is showing me how did we do so far this year versus last year. So obviously business is getting better. And this is looking at year to date, so your fiscal year to date information. And then we also let you look at the most recent 12 months versus the prior 12 months. And then this gets a little bit more detailed, but then we also break down that comparison by what we call product segments. So how you break out your products, whether they be broken down by, coolant or antifreeze, DEF, diesel, gas, grease, and it's just going to show you those comparisons. Again, I don't have a ton of data in here, but when we load your data in the system, this all just comes to life. You don't have to build these charts. You don't have to do anything. That's all we have to do is pull your data from your accounting system, and all of this just comes to life. Jumping back to the main form, I'll just show you a couple other features, and then we'll take this is more, again, data integration and at the account level. One feature that's kind of cool that our customers like is this concept of estimated days between orders. So one of the things that we were asked was, can the system help me know if I've lost a customer? Well, now that you have access to that order history data, you know your customers. You can take a pretty good guess based on their buying patterns. Maybe this customer orders every couple weeks. So I would like to be alarmed. I would like an alarm to go off basically, or I'd want this customer to show up on the bad list if they ever go over 18 days without an order. So that's all you do is fill that in on your accounts, and then there's a dashboard that you can look at. You'd probably just peek at that once a day to see, hey, did anybody fall off the radar? Did anybody stop buying? So just something so simple, and because we have all the data, you can do that. Another thing we talked about was suggestive sell. So we use this concept called product segments, really how you group your products, and then we let you tell the system, just a one-time setup, how those product segments relate to each other. So if a customer buys, let's say, coolant, those type of customers normally buy from our PCMO product line, or from our grease product line, or from our industrial oil, right? You basically just line them up. It's probably like less than an hour of configuration. And then if you're ever looking at a customer, because we know your matrix, because we know what they're buying and not buying, this button does all the work for me. So by hitting that button, what this is doing is it's looking back at everything the customer buys, everything they don't buy. Then it looks at your matrix of product segments, how they line up, and it's saying, hey, based on all that information, I think this customer might be interested in your additives that you sell. So you might want to talk to them about that. And it looks like I pulled up this screen in the past and I did talk to them. And apparently they don't need additives at this time. So I actually, basically I want to snooze this out until, September of this year, and maybe I'll bring it up again. But, I don't want to bug them every time I hit the button and additive comes up. So there's a good reminder that, hey, we talked to them about that already. So this button is going to be on every account screen. So if you have an existing customer buying from you, that button could help you try to cross-sell, upsell, get more share of wallet business from your existing customers. Okay, kind of checking the clock here. Got a few more minutes on demo time, so I'm gonna take it up a notch. And again, now that we're tied into your back office, why I think that's important is we can do things like show you overall, how's the company doing. So I can go into our dashboard area, and there's also lots of reports for this. I might run a report later if I have time. But I could say, how's my company doing? And I can either look at this in a gross profit or a volume perspective. And without doing any work at all, you're going to get this blue bar. This is actual gross profit overall for your company. The circles take a little bit of work on your part. Those circles represent goals that you set. So that's optional. Once a year, you can go through and set goals. And that really adds power to this dashboard. Because now I can see, boy, if it's toward the end of the year, I just made it, right? I made it to that. Each of these are a quarter, so by the end of the first quarter, I need to be here, second, third, and fourth quarter. And then you see as I'm hovering over it, it's showing me the numbers that are represented, because sometimes it's a little hard to read across, to see the exact number. So that's kind of cool, but what's even more cool is I can drill down and say, okay, we got a lot of gross profit. Where did it come from? And we have that broken down by our fuel and our lubricants department. This can be configured for whatever your profit centers, your divisions, we just happen to call them departments, however you want that to be set up. That we work with you to set this up. So some of these examples I'm showing you with tying into your accounting system, I'm demonstrating the value of that, plus also a finished product. Like this is a product that we have that's already done. So I could drill into my lubricants department and say, where is that coming from? And we have a layer here called product category. And most folks they break that down by the brands that they sell. So within lubricants, maybe I sell the Chevron brand, I have a private label, and I lump everything else here. Or maybe I could have Shell, or I could have, it's however you want to configure this layer. And we definitely work with you to do that. And then I could just drill into this a little bit further and say, okay, now we have those product segments. So within the lubricant Chevron, business, where's my gross profit coming from? Well, it's coming from my looks like a lot of grease and heavy duty. And looks like I didn't set goals for the heavy duty business. I could drill into this. And then it's going to show me which salespeople are bringing in that gross profit. And I could go one step further and just say, okay, I'm interested in Michael here. I don't get a real pretty chart here, but if I drill into this, it's going to show me the customers or the accounts that Michael has that are contributing to his lubricant Chevron grease business. So this is Michael's biggest customer from that perspective right here. So just a cool way to bring your data to life. If I'm a sales manager Maybe I don't want to look at the data from a corporate perspective. I want to look at it from a sales manager perspective. So what do I care about as a sales manager? I care about my sales team. So this is the same data, but it's spinning it starting at the salesperson level. And then I can do that same drill. I can drill into Michael, and then it's going to show where is Michael bringing in his gross profit by department, and then by product category and product segment, and on and on and on. If I'm going to have a little coaching session, let's say with Michael, I could just pull up just Michael's data. So Michael walks into my office. Maybe I don't want Michael to see everybody else's stuff. Michael, let's talk. You know, we're at the end of third quarter. You know, we're in a little bit of trouble. You know, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at your pipeline. Let's figure out how we're gonna hit your goal. That's just another way to you know, tie into your back office and bring a lot of that data to life. Just a couple other things, just to point out that we're constantly getting feedback from our customers. And some of the feedback that we get is to make changes, add features to our system. And I kind of showed you some of the things that we're bringing over now from the accounting system. Well, we're right in the middle of a project where we had a couple customers, you know, ask us, could you possibly bring over the inventory balances that we have at all of our locations? Well, sure, we can do that. If you send it over, what you'd end up doing, I'm actually just going to pull up a different org here, because this is just our development org. What I did is I pulled up a product, and it's showing me that in location 4 and location 5, here's how much I have on hand, here's how much I have on order from a supplier, how much the customers have on order. All of this could, if you sent this in your, basically our nightly load from your accounting system, you now have easy access to it in CRM. During that same project, another customer said, we would like to get specific customer pricing. A lot of our customers have special pricing. It would be so nice to be able to access that within CRM. Well, it's the same thing. Again, I'm in my little development org here. Let's see what we've got done so far. So if I pulled up an account, see if it's always risky when I go to our development org because our developers might be doing something. I'm just going to pull up that same account, but I'm now in a different version of CRM here. And we've got a link to that customer's product pricing. So Fairview Manufacturing buys these products and got some whacked out prices in here, but this is just a list of all the products this customer buys and the price. If they would buy it today, the accounting system would bill them this. And then some of you are, if you're in the lubricants world, not just the fuel world, right? Some prices, there's rebates involved, so we give you a chance to send over any rebate that might be involved. And again, these are just made up numbers. This isn't real by any means. So anyway, that's just to kind of show you that the product is constantly growing. Another big thing that we're hearing is we have a lot of customers who are, you know, distribute fuel, but they're also in the retail fuel business, whether they're a jobber, they're maybe in charge of some stations, some they even own, some they run, sometimes other people run them. We're creating a whole nother module for retail fuels. Keep track of your sites and those types of things. So that's another thing where this product continues to grow. All right. With that in mind, I think I've done enough showing here. I'm going to flip back over to the PowerPoint and we will move on. I think I'm right on the clock here, so I'm maybe a minute or two behind. All right. So I'm still actually covering successful implementation, right? Some of the things that you really got to worry about. And we covered a few on the last slide, and then I demonstrated why data integration is so important and what it can do to a CRM. So these are a couple other bullets that I think are real important, and I kind of touched on them a little while ago, but I just wanted to point them out here specifically. So user adoption, I think I mentioned it earlier, your hardest challenge. So make sure that you share the vision, set expectations, people make sure they understand their roles. We talked about setting up a plan for the first week, the first 2 weeks, the first month, the first 2 months. Like, what do you expect out of people? Let's just get a plan really set in stone and then just execute the plan. We can do that. The other thing that we've seen very successful is if you had your team, after they've been trained, maybe every couple weeks, ask them to rate themselves. You know, you send out an email, you're the champion of this product. You send out an email to your users and you say, hey, please reply back with your proficiency or your competency level on these 5 things within CRM. So maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with just navigating through the software? How comfortable are you from a scale of 1 to 10 on creating and managing your pipeline, right? Creating an opportunity. And then based on that feedback, you can figure out what more training you need, or what person maybe needs more coaching. So it's just a great little trick. It takes like a couple minutes. You send out an email, people reply back, and now you as the champion have kind of a pulse on how things are going. A couple other things that are real important. Give your team easy access to this information, easy access to CRM, right? It'd be great if I could access it, via the internet, right? Most of these things are cloud-based now. Everything I just showed you, I just logged into an internet site and I was in my CRM, so I could do that anywhere, right? I just have to be connected. Some of the solutions integrate directly with Outlook, so to be able to do things with an Outlook and have access to my CRM information is kind of a plus. And then mobile obviously is very big. Getting access to CRM either on a phone or on an iPad, again, to be able to do things, when I want to. I think I kind of beat up training, so we definitely want to do enough training. And then this coaching and holding people accountable and setting expectations, I just can't say enough about the importance of that. This is not a product you roll out, you train people, and then you wash your hands of it and you go back to something else. You've got to stick with it. And if you stick with it for the first couple months, it'll just become habit for everybody. And then one of the mantras I hear a lot of our customers say to kind of, hold people accountable, like if you're going to talk to me about something that has to do with an opportunity or an account, if that information isn't in CRM, it just doesn't exist. Get it in the system so I can see it and I have transparency to it, right? Don't just, make stuff up. Let's just get it in the system. All right. All right, so I also have a little bit of time here, so I just wanted to show you just some other things that you can do within a CRM. So, So with that in mind, I'm just going to kind of flip over back to CRM and show you a couple more things. So I talked about pipeline management and opportunities a couple times. That's one of the big reasons people get a CRM, right? I need a company pipeline. So I will show you a little bit about how our pipeline works, and then how as a manager you might want to have visibility into the pipeline. So again, I'm not here training, so I'm kind of navigating a little bit through the navigation bar, but I just went into CRM and pulled up my opportunities. So these happen to be, this is a list of all the open opportunities in the system right now. So if you see on the bottom here, there's 157 opportunities in our pipeline. So as a manager, I might want to see that list. There's a ton of views in our system to look at the data differently. I probably, as a salesperson, maybe just want to look at mine. So now I'm down to 23 opportunities. This is my pipeline. This is all the stuff I'm working on. And I'll just open one of these up as an example, just to kind of show you what it looks like. Again, this isn't an account. This is an opportunity, which is the business I'm going after. So what we allow you to do is things like, put this against a department, keep track of what brand you're pushing. You have a list here, what type of opportunity this is. And this graph here kind of represents the sales process. So from the beginning, when you start out and you just qualified this lead or you qualified this customer, and so you're early on in the process, and then as you start to meet with them, you move the opportunity over into what we call needs and solutions, right? You're working with the customer. You finally figure out what they need, and you put together maybe a proposal, and then you're going to go do a presentation. And I've done all that on this opportunity already, so I've kind of advanced it to where the customer said, yes, I'd love to do business with you. So I'm in this sales stage 4, this activate and transition, where the customer said yes, but I'm not ready to close this as a win because I want to make sure their credit app gets processed, that they place their first order, whatever rules you want to put in place to say, when could I actually code this opportunity as a win? But all along, while you're working this opportunity, right, you're doing this in the real world, right? This is where we want you to spend your time, out in the real world, but spend a couple minutes a day coming into CRM, making sure you're in the right stage, and then also update how big of an opportunity do you think this is? Also update an estimated close date. That's really important, right? When do I think I'm going to get like a yes/no answer from this guy? When When am I going to get this thing done? Obviously, I did a poor job on this, and look at this one. My estimated close date is way in the past. So that's not good. You should have an estimated close date in the future. So this is exactly where your sales team would be spending, a few minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes a day. Maybe it's a couple times a day, just in here keeping their pipeline updated, right? We want to keep this as accurate as possible, because as a manager and even as a salesperson, you're going to want to see how your pipeline is looking. And I think last I counted, we get asked for a lot of different reports and charts and dashboards. Last I counted, we had 12 dashboards and I think 56 charts just to manage my pipeline. Now, granted, you're not going to use all of these, but I'll just go through a couple real quick. So one of them on here is that's just keeping track of how many opportunities are in the pipeline. So how many opportunities do I have? And I think we know before it was like 157, but this is breaking that down by the month it was created. So I've got some pretty old opportunities out there. Maybe I should do something about that. This is how many opportunities I have by department and how many each person has. The cool part about a lot of these charts is, charts are cool, but normally a chart will trigger a question. So, maybe it's like, geez, I didn't even know Josh had any opportunities going. I wonder what Josh is working on. Well, I don't want to have to go back to some other screen and try to find that. I've got this magic button right here that will put the data next to the chart so I can now interact with this information and try to get my answer. So now I've got all this data, all 157 opportunities that make up this chart. And if I care about Josh, I can just click on this bar and it'll narrow the list down to all of Josh's opportunities. And there's a quick look at that. If the list was too long and I wanted to even drill down a little bit further, I can make a chart of these 7 opportunities. I can say, well, show me those maybe by department, or maybe more importantly by sales stage. And I hit the little go button and it says it looks like Josh has 6 opportunities in sales stage 1 and he's got 1 opportunity in sales stage 4. So he's like really close to closing this deal. Who is that? Oh, this is one that he was just playing with. It looks like a test. So, but anyway, I've got my answer. I know what was in there. So charts are cool, but this drill down and being able to interact with the data is even more powerful. So we've got lots of other charts. I can analyze my pipeline looking at the volume that's in my pipeline. So how many gallons do I have in the pipeline by department, by person, and usually this is the funnel, right? My pipeline by sales stage. How much is early on in the sales process and how much is in sales stage 4, ready to hopefully win the deal. All right. So I think enough on just checking the clock here. I've got a few more minutes to show you a few more things before I slide back. So I've showed you a lot of dashboards. Maybe another thing to show you is a report, just to give you an idea of some of our reports. So it looks like we have about 37 different reports. Every time I think we've done just about every single report possible, somebody dreams up another one. One of the things that we've learned is one report might answer a lot of different questions for you. So I'll just grab the first one here. So this is an account ranking report. So you can guess it's going to rank my customers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip this first screen for a minute because I want to show you what the report looks like. So I'm just going to go to Run Report. And again, this is a ranking report. So it's saying, well, how do you rank your customers? By gross profit, by revenue, by volume? Well, for today's example, I'll just say I want to rank my customers by gross profit. And I just hit View Report. And it's going to go out and look at all my customers, look at everything they've been buying, look at how much gross profit they've contributed, and give me this nice report. And it's a list of customers with customer information, and it's showing me gross profit. And this gross profit should be going down because I told it to list my best one first. And just for the fun of it, we put like a running total on here. So this plus this equals that, and this plus this equals that. So it's just an accumulation of gross profit. Then we list the percentage that each of these customers contributes. And again, those numbers should be going down. And then we also added a running percentage, which is just an accumulator here. And the reason we did that is we had customers, they would ask for, I want to see my top 80% of my accounts. Well, we're going to give you everybody. You can just scroll down, and you might have to go to another page, page 2, page 3, page 4, but just stop reading when you get down to 80% because you don't care about all them other ones. But we're going to give you everybody. I could easily export this to Excel if I wanted to, massage it, do some pivot tables, do some whatever I wanted with it, but I've got access to all this information now. So the screen that I skipped, I want to go back to because it's super powerful. So it takes just 5 or 10 minutes of training because it can be a little bit intimidating at first, but you get to pick the data you want the report to use. Now, I was able to just jump to run report because I knew it defaulted to looking at this fiscal year's data. Well, if I didn't like that, maybe I want to go back further in time. I want to look at more. I could change this rule. And I have all these different rules I can apply to a date field. So I could just say, hey, I want you to go back all the way to 1/1/2016 and run that report. I could also say, you know what, as you're ranking these customers, these are all the different fields I can filter on. We talked about that department. Look, my fuel department always skews this report. I don't want fuel in there. I just want lubricants. So I just click lubricants, and I'm making the rules. I could also pick on one salesman if I only wanted one salesperson's accounts. I could filter on that. So you can make all these filters, then you go to run the report, and now it's going to look at, a much bigger time period, but it's only going to look at the lubricant data and give me basically the same, the same report looking, but obviously different customers might be listed and the numbers are a little bit different. So just some cool things you can do with a CRM product. I wanted to show you some of the reports. The other thing that I think I may or may not have touched on, I know it was on the PowerPoint, but I might have talked about it. But one of the things that CRM can do for you is help you remember stuff. I mean, I used to have notes all over the place, either it be in a notebook or Post-it notes everywhere, and I'm supposed to call this guy back on Friday or whatever. You can have CRM become almost like your personal secretary. So as an example, I have an account out there. I set it up earlier, so to save us some time. Let me just go try to see if I can find it. So here's this. This actually isn't a customer. This is a prospect account of mine. So you'll notice I don't have a lot of locks on these fields. I can go change the industry they're in. I can change their address. Right now there is no customer number. It's a CRM account only, and it's coded as a prospect. Well, what I did in the past is I was working with this customer trying to get them to, buy from me. And I found out that they really liked everything I had to offer, but they're under contract. And they're under contract for quite a long time. So what I did is I put an activity out in CRM, and I'm just going to open this activity up rather than creating one from scratch. So this activity is basically telling me, I put this out there, I created this that says, hey, they're under contract until September 2020. And so I made a little note for myself, check with Steve Smith in September of 2018. So I'm going to follow up with him, a few years before his contract is due, just to remind him about me, maybe spend a little bit of time, and then I'll probably change this reminder to do it again sometime before September 2020. And the key here is this due date. So I created this activity, gave it a due date, and now I can forget about this. Because if I go into CRM, into the workplace area, there's an area that takes all the activities I have scattered through the system and shows me all of my activities. And I could look at my activities that are due today or earlier, what's on my to-do list. So as I get closer and closer to September of 2018, that task is going to show up for me. And then I can look at that customer, I can look at that little reminder, that task, and then I can take action. So this can really help me be so much more productive. And I can even look out further. I can look at all of my activities that I have out there. And here's that reminder, here's that task, the fact that they're under contract with a due date of, looks like I didn't say September. No, it's this one right here, September of 2018. So normally I wouldn't care about this, right? This would be, I wouldn't really look at all of my lists. I'd be saying, hey, let's look out the next 7 days? What's on my list of things to do? And the way I did that is if I go back to this Bird Rock, I'll just do this real quick, search for them again. If I go back to this account, just to show you how simple it was for me to do that, I actually created it ahead of time, but I just want to show you. On this account screen, there's a section for activities. I just hit this little plus sign. There's a lot of different types of activities. I could just make a task. And then I just do a little brain dump, right? Dump in, a little bit of a subject line, a little bit here if I need to type more to remind myself. And then the big thing is to give it a due date. As I finish these tasks, I can just mark them complete. So there's a history of them. And I can just create a new one if I want. Or I could just bump that date out, bump it out 6 more months. Always, every one of your prospects and every one of your accounts, I believe, should either have an open activity or an open opportunity that I'm working. All right, then I know nobody's falling through the cracks. It's that simple. All right, a couple more things. I know we're winding down here. Some of our customers, actually most of them, actually have equipment that they loan out or give to their customers because their customers promise to buy a lot. So we have an equipment tracking module where I can go in and set up my equipment, and then I can tie that equipment to specific accounts. So as an example, I'll just highlight one here. What this is saying is that Fairview Manufacturing has one of our 200-gallon tanks, and they've had it since, looks like February of 2012. And oh, by the way, this is the product that they put in that tank. If they made a commitment to us early on when we gave them that tank, I can put in a commitment level. They promised to buy 5,000 gallons of this product every year because I gave them the tank. Well, now that I have this information and I have your order history, right, I can go look. I can run it's actually a little dashboard that says, show me everybody who has loaned equipment or has equipment with a commitment level who's not meeting their commitment. Right? And then I can take action on that. So just a really cool tool to help you keep track of your equipment. All right. One last thing I'll show you that you might find in a finished product, at least you'll find it with ours. You talk about hiring new people and getting them up to speed. We have lots of documentation in our system, but we also have videos. I think we're up to about 46 of them. It's just a playlist. So you can get a list of all of the videos. How to run reports, how to use certain dashboards, how to use the sales process, just how to navigate in the system. Little 5, 10, 15-minute snippets that somebody could watch a video and just get educated on how to use the system. Or if they want to use a new feature, there's probably a video on it. Activity tracking, competitor share a wallet, on and on and on. So lots of cool stuff there. All right. So let's see where I left off. Hopefully I covered, some of the cool things in CRM. Backing up just a notch to a little bit about what LedgeView does. We definitely do finished product for oil and gas and fuel distributors, and we're working on the retail side of the fuel business. That's kind of exciting. But we do a lot of projects that are starting from scratch with vanilla. So either route you go, we could possibly be a resource. We've done, over 1,000 products. We have hundreds of customers. Pretty proud of our retention rate. I worked for an oil company for 28 years before I came here to help LedgeView build the CRM. There's a big team of us who work on that, and hopefully you've seen some cool stuff that you can do with CRM. I think Chad mentioned we're a Microsoft partner and Salesforce, so we do that. We also have a website with a lot of videos, just kind of talking about our product and about our systems. There's some case studies out there specific to the oil and gas. These are a couple customers who have our finished product, who really like it. It's really has changed their business quite a bit, helped them grow, and they now are reaping all the benefits we talked about earlier. Just kind of checking the clock here. I think I'm going to get to this last slide, and I think I'm done. I think I can turn this back over to Chad to kind of wrap up on these contacts if you want to reach out to us, and some other things, and if there was any questions. So Chad, unless you can think of anything, it's back to you.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Really appreciate it. A lot of information there. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Now, what Steve showed you really just scratches the surface. So if you'd like a more in-depth demonstration or questions, you can reach out to Steve, or Matthew Mickles is also our sales contact, and he knows the product very well indeed. So the best way to do that is to take your current challenges, your current situation, because everybody is just a little bit unique, and see how the oil and gas product can help you, or a generic CRM from Dynamics or Salesforce as well. I want to let everybody know that we will be emailing out a link that you can access this on demand to watch again. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at any time or give us a phone call. Thank you very much, Steve, for joining us, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.